Do you want to do some sort of...
I'll do something of an intro.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with episode 2 of the podcast, because episode 1 failed miserably. What we've accidentally done is we've timed it almost perfectly, because 3 days and 1 year ago, the season finale of Game of Thrones aired.
What a disappointment.
May 19th, 2019, which I think we can say is probably when 2020 was ruined for us.
That's true. That's when 2020 actually started.
When it started going downhill. So yeah, I've got... Before we get you started, Sam, because the reason I wanted to do this is because we had a brief conversation about it, and I thought it was too good to...
Yeah, I got real mad.
You did get real mad, and I thought it was too good to not let other people listen to. But the first thing I've got is CNET up. I'm not actually sure what they are. I thought they were like a technical journalism company of some sort. But
yeah,
they do have their list of all 8 seasons ranked from worst to best. And
that's interesting.
I do disagree with some of it, but so they've started with their worst in 8th place. They started with season 7.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I think I kind of agree with it.
I thought season 8 was worse than series 7.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's why. Turn to Vicky Pollard. But that's why I wanted to talk about it, because there was specifically one episode in season 8 that I really enjoyed. Actually, 2 episodes in season 8 that I enjoyed. But I can't really remember anything about season 7.
It was certainly, for me, it was certainly the start of the, Game of Thrones is getting bad.
That was when they started to... They messed with the time frames of stuff, didn't they? A raven managed to get from...
Yeah, how fast does a raven fly? And I said I had this exact conversation with about 8 different people. It was how fast can a man run? How fast can a raven fly? I'll accept that a dragon can fly from one end of this enormous country to the other real quick. I'm cool with that because it's a fucking dragon. But this man was 4 days walk from the wall, and he runs back to the wall, and then a raven has to fly from the wall all the way to the other end of the country.
It was Dragonstone, wasn't it? That was where the raven either came from or left.
Yeah.
One end of the country to the other.
It came to, so it came from...
because it went to Daenerys, didn't it? And then she appeared 5 seconds later on a dragon.
So I'll give you that dragons can fucking teleport. I'm not even going to argue about...
They are magical creatures, so we can get away with that. Ravens, on the other hand...
Yeah, ravens are not. And it's described as 1,000 leagues. And that's not even all the way to Dragonstone.
No.
1,000 leagues. That is a long way.
Isn't a league a surprisingly small measurement?
It's
also a measurement of depth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nautical measurement.
Yeah.
It's 3,452 miles.
Oh, okay. It's nowhere near...
Yeah.
What? Oh, all right then.
That's 1,000 leagues.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that was 1 league.
No. 1 league would be 3.4.
Yeah, 1 league is 3 miles, isn't it?
So a raven has to fly all that. They're all dead. Everyone but on the wall is dead. Yeah. Because you can't survive with no food and no heat.
Absolutely not, no.
No. And that was really the worst thing for me, because the best thing about Game of Thrones from the start was always that any character could die at any moment.
And the pacing.
Yeah, and the pacing.
But yeah, I know. So everyone has got plot armor in season 7.
Yeah, exactly. And plot armor in Game of Thrones just ruins it.
Yeah. There was
people would die in situations where you'd be like, oh no, nothing possibly could go wrong here. And then everyone would die.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, there's this character I really like. Oh, they died off screen of dysentery 2 days ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that specifically, but yeah, in the books that happens all the time.
Yeah. In the books especially, it's like that.
There was one bit that I did think was brilliant in that season, though, and that was... By the way, this is going to be full of spoilers, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's a year and 3 days.
Yeah.
Jury's out on spoilers.
Yeah, but the thing that I really enjoyed in that was Littlefinger's death right at the end.
Yeah.
One, because I found it satisfying, because I've been waiting for him to die. I've been wanting him to die for years. But also, I just love the fact that they, like, Cersei was like, "Oh, I've learnt these tricks from you," and then turns it on him and was like, "Oh, surprise, bitch!" And then Arya just stabs him.
Yeah, I mean, even when at its complete most terrible level that it got to,
Yeah,
it could still have good scenes and good moments.
Oh yeah, I mean they start off this thing by saying a bad Game of Thrones season is still good. I disagree, but
Yeah,
you get what they mean.
I would say that even in the worst episodes and the worst, but there's still bits that like, oh, that's good.
To be honest, I'd still say that season 5 is worse than season 7, but
I need to look back at the episodes.
Season 5 is the series where the writers started saying, okay, we're going to start diverting away from the books now. And did that for the majority of the season, and it was a bit meh, that's fine. And then right at the end is the bit where Ollie and the others from the Wall stab Jon. And without all of the stuff that happened in the books that doesn't happen in the series, their motivation made absolutely no sense whatsoever.
No, it didn't.
It was literally just like, we'll do it for shits and giggles.
Well, yeah, that's like getting into the characters have to die now. Because that's just what we do.
Because that's what
we do.
That's something that needs to happen at the end of this season.
Interestingly, season 5 is the first series that George R.R. Martin didn't write an episode.
Yeah, that was the gists of what I got from when they were like, yeah, this is where we're going to start deviating, and he was like, yeah, that's fine because I'm never going to finish these books ever.
Yeah,
because
I'm very rich and very old, so I don't really.
I'm very rich, very old, and somehow probably just up to my neck in nerd poon. But anyway, yeah. So season number 7 on their list is season 8.
Yeah, I'd swap those around.
Yeah, I know you.
I'd swap those around hard.
I think that episode 2 in season 8, which is the one where they were all preparing for the Battle of Winterfell, was like the first 4 seasons because it's just character development.
Yeah, you know what? That's the best episode of series 8. Hands down. I remember my housemate at the time, we were big into it and we were talking about it a lot.
Yeah.
And after the first episode, we were like, that wasn't very good.
Can't remember anything about the first episode at all.
And then we got to the second one and we were like, yeah, you know what? I can deal with this. This is good. And then it just completely goes.
But I would maintain that I still, because someone had told me to turn up the brightness on my monitor, I still really enjoyed the Battle of Winterfell. However,
it has problems beside the fact that the contrast was absolute dockers.
The problem is that if there weren't 3 episodes after that, then I would have loved it. But the fact that it continued after, like the reason that I really love that episode is because one, while I was watching it with the brightness up, I found the undead, like the White Walker horde, genuinely terrifying. Like there's the bit when you see the, it makes no sense that all the cavalry
as well.
Yeah, it makes
like the pointless cavalry charge.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense to do that.
Yeah,
but
no, and the best thing is like Melisandre turning up to set all their things on fire so they could actually kill them.
Yeah,
they didn't know that was going to happen. What the fuck was that cavalry charge going to do before she showed up?
Just go
they
out.
Could literally do nothing. All they could do is go and die.
Yeah, I think the point was that they didn't know that the entire place would be pitch black before they started the battle. But yeah, as from like a strategic standpoint, that cavalry charge made absolutely no sense. But visually,
Visually, it was great.
It looked amazing seeing all those lights go out, and then you just get a feeling of, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
And
some people have a problem with that it was Arya who killed the Night King, not Jon Snow.
Oh, I don't give a shit about that. I thought Arya killing him was amazing. I loved that bit.
Yeah, I mean,
my heart was in my throat when I watched that bit. Because you see her jump in, and then he stops her, and then you have that's it. That's all we've got. And then she does like sleight of hand shit and kills him. But
yeah. The most disappointing thing was that was the 3rd episode of a 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because like the whole point, and this is where I get real mad. The whole point of Game of Thrones is, or up to that point certainly, was that all of the squabbling and the backstabbing,
the political
over the
bitching.
throne. Yeah, all of that doesn't matter
Mm.
because the real threat is in the north, and it's coming, and it's gonna get them.
It's climate change.
Yeah, it is exactly. It's I don't know whether it's intentional, the climate change, but it is exactly climate change.
Mm.
It's a perfect analogy for climate change, and they just fucking ignore it.
Yeah.
Decide, no, actually, super easy to fix. We just get the ninja assassin to kill him, and then we can spend 3 episodes talking about who gets to be in charge, which is not the point. But that really
I 100% agree with that. The part of the reason why I loved episode 3 and why it ended up disappointing me is because throughout the entire episode I was thinking there's no way they can win, they're all going to die, and then I was like, oh, that's interesting, the next 3 episodes are going to be about how the South deals with the White Walkers coming from the North. And then they won, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then I was like, oh, so they're going to what? They're going to go back to bitching about the throne?
Yeah, it's just like way to completely misunderstand
the whole point.
The whole point of what the whole show felt like it was building to, because that's the way the whole show builds. You know, like in the first season,
winter is coming.
Winter is coming, but there's very little talk about the White Walkers. There's the prologue, and there's a few hints here and there.
Yeah,
there's mostly about this political squabble.
There's the very first scene of Game of Thrones, which is them dealing with the White Walkers.
Yeah, the prologue.
Yeah, and then nothing for 4 seasons.
Exactly. There's very little. There's the odd like here and there. I think the next time they're seen after that is the end of the second season. The very end of the second season, like the last shot before the credits rolling.
I know which bit you're thinking of. I don't know if it's
the Fist of the First Man.
Yeah, is that season 2 or 3? I can't remember. It's been
one of those. Well, that's like the next time that they really show up.
This is why I wanted to talk about it, because I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons over and over again several times, but I haven't watched any Game of Thrones since the finale.
Same.
It's not that it's ruined it, it's just that I can't really watch it now and just think this is going to have a satisfying ending.
No, that is the problem. Yeah, it really has. He's ruined it.
Yeah.
It's sort of retroactively made it less good because all the sort of threads that are being set up in the first, well, maybe not so much the first season because most of that gets resolved.
Yeah.
It's only like the really overarching stuff in that first season. But yeah, it's just all the mystery's gone because it's just going to this really bad ending.
Yeah, and obviously there was some. I was an apologist for it when it first came out because I was like, "Oh, come on, it's Game of Thrones. It's not that bad." I defended the fact that Daenerys' character does a complete 180 for very unjustified reasons.
Yeah, no, see, I'm completely down with her going mad.
It just happens so fucking suddenly.
Yes, exactly. You have one episode in season 7 when she burns someone alive.
Yeah.
Or burns some people alive, and then she's like, goes super crazy real quick.
Oh, okay, I'm evil now.
I think if you'd had 2 more seasons to sort of develop that and have it slowly and show how, what drove her to it rather than just be like, she's evil now.
Oh, my dragon died. That's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's it. And it's like...
She lost 2 dragons and then...
And this gets me to the most disgusting part. So, you know how Series 7 and 8 felt incredibly rushed?
Yeah.
So, David Bainhoff and D.B. Weiss, I'll call them D&D from now on.
Yeah, D&D.
I can't remember saying their names every time. They were offered 2 more seasons.
Yep.
So they were given the option to go to season 10 and tell the story properly, and they were like, nah, I think we can do it in 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you've just shat on the main thing that you're known for.
The support that you've been given.
Yeah, because they'd been given and they wanted to move on and do...
Was it a Star Wars?
Yeah, Star Wars trilogy by Disney.
Which I don't think they actually ended up doing, did they?
No, and then surprise, surprise, because of the backlash against the way they've written Game of Thrones, Disney dropped them like they're hot because, Disney, with the possible exception of The Last Jedi, Disney don't take risks with Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a different podcast entirely as well, because I'm sure there'd be a lot more, because, for example, I liked The Last Jedi. A lot a lot of people I know hated it.
Yeah, it's really weird. That one's
Last
like
Jedi?
proper Marmite.
Wait, which one was the second one?
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's the one I liked. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker yet, but yeah, we're getting off topic a bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I watched it fairly late, so I'd seen a lot of the like bile being spewed at it.
Yeah.
And I watched the film and I was like, well, what's all this about?
Yeah.
Why is everyone hating so much? Yeah, it's a bit dumb in places, but this is fucking Star Wars. It's supposed to be a bit dumb.
We'll be out. I'm sure we'll be able to find somebody who hates it to join us next time, so it's not just us agreeing.
Oh yeah.
But what was the other thing? There was Daenerys's very rushed madness.
Rushed.
There was everybody was raving about the Clegane Bowl. I really didn't like it.
It was a well choreographed fight.
I didn't even think it was that. It looked too CG for me, to be honest. There was too much fire and brimstone and shit going on.
I suppose.
And the mountain didn't really do anything. All he did was not die a couple of times.
True. I think the problem you've got is, I do agree with the casting of Hafthor.
Oh, absolutely.
Bjornsson, but when you cast like a professional strongman, you're not going to be able to get the tight choreography you get with some of the other actors.
But I mean,
it's harder to have a stunt person who can do it because not many people look like Hafthor Bjornsson.
Yeah, but I mean, then part of the point of the mountain is that he was just brute force. There was no finesse in it. He's just destroying everything in his wake. But yeah, it was just everyone was like, "Oh my god, Clegane Bowl finally!" And I watched it and I was like, it's a bit meh.
Yeah. For me, the better thing than Clegane Bowl was the interaction between the Hound and Arya pre Clegane Bowl.
Oh yeah, that weird like
that was where she's
he was like fuck off, and it was like that's the most loving thing he's ever said to because he's telling her to leave so she doesn't die. Yeah. But I did like that. I cared for that. Yeah, I liked most of the interaction between Arya and Sandor throughout all of the seasons, really.
The series where it's just them like walking across country is fantastic, and you watch her grow into a psychopath.
Yeah, but I think the difficult thing is with the Clegane Bowl is that we've seen Clegane do, for example, the fight with Brienne, which was fucking brutal and amazing.
That was great. Yeah.
So Clegane Bowl was a bit kind of disappointing for me. And finally, so we can move on to the other seasons, and then we can get back to hating season 8. The like Grey Worm walking in, finding that Jon Snow has killed Daenerys, and not immediately trying to kill him.
Oh yeah, there was so much. There was
absolutely
so much
no sense.
How about the dragon coming in and seeing its mother figure having been stabbed, and then rather than killing the guy who stabbed it, I'm gonna melt this chair.
There was a little bit of.
I like symbolism. As this dragon, I'm a big fan of symbolism.
Yeah, to be fair, the only saving grace of that was the symbolism of just being like, the dragon, which to this point has shown very little intelligence, realised that it was in fact the throne that killed his mum, not Jon. But then also it's a fucking dragon.
It was Jon.
It kind of was Jon. He did stab her.
There was some great cartoons of like the dragon thing.
Yeah, I did see that as well.
She'd been done by a stabby thing, and the chair was made of stabby things.
Yeah, that was the one that I was kind of inclined to believe more than the symbolism. But
well, I mean, when you look at the rest of that season, you can't.
But I was also really annoyed about the Grey Worm thing because I was like, that could have been a phenomenal fight scene, Grey Worm against Jon Snow.
And that would have involved Jon Snow doing something interesting in the final season.
Yeah, to be fair, he didn't really do anything in the last season. He was
he said, I don't want the throne.
I don't want the throne, and then everyone was like, good, because you're not getting it. You just killed the queen. But still, I felt robbed because apart from everything that happened after that, which was just like, let's make the psychic the king. Yeah, let's just.
Yeah,
it felt like they were trying to do the George R. Martin thing, which is subvert your ideas of what's going to happen with Daenerys going mad and Jon killing her, and then also went, but it's the season finale, and we've got to make it. We've got to tie off all these loose ends, and then kind of failing in both aspects, really.
Yeah, I mean, and the time jumps in some of those episodes, like between when Jon killed Daenerys.
Oh yeah, and then it's like 3 weeks later.
It's like the middle of winter. No, it's more than 3 weeks. It's got to be like 6 months.
I think it was a
Because
couple of months,
summer,
actually.
it's
Yeah.
spring. It's completely different weather. It's like, oh god.
It's like what in that could
The
John
pacing
being
that sort of brings into the pacing.
yeah, John being incarcerated could have been an entire season on its own, just with character interactions and how he survived and shit like that. But they just went, nah, we got to get to the end, quick, chop, chop.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way the pacing just went off the rails, because that was always some people found it frustrating, and I get that, but I was always a big fan of like the methodical pace, and it makes the story feel more epic and more grand in its scale. And then I think really things started to go downhill, and this is going to be controversial because a lot of people really like this episode, but I think the finale of season 6 is when the show really started to go downhill.
You'll have to remind me.
That's the one where they explode the cathedral and everybody dies.
Oh, I mean, that episode is, as you can tell from me not remembering it, that one wasn't like I enjoyed parts of. There were some bits that I really enjoyed in season 6, but that wasn't really one that stood out.
A lot of people really like that because it's very well shot. And it
is. That's the one where that's the thing that made Tommen jump out the window, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but what that actually is, in hindsight, is it's 2 lead writers who realize that they can't control a story with this many characters in it. Just rounding up all the characters they don't need for the final 2 seasons and killing them all off
in one fell swoop.
Yeah, just killing them all off. We can't control all these. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. and then yeah, exactly. And then we can just get it done.
Yeah.
And I feel, as much as at the time it's like incredible because it was a really good, well shot scene.
It was rough to watch. Yeah, as in like it was rough to be like, oh my god, all of those characters just died.
Yeah. But
they very much went, we're coming to the end of what we want to film. We need to make it so that Cersei is the only person in the South now.
Yeah, exactly, because that's sort of where you got to.
Yeah. Then next...
And there was a few other stuff. But, oh, no, it's all right. We'll go through the seasons now. I've probably ranted enough about...
about 8.
About the last 2
We got most of what I wanted out of there anyway, but... the next one on their list, so they started off with season 7 being the worst, 8 being in 7th position, and then the next one is, the third worst was season 5. And this is the season that I really disliked, because it went off the rails from being based... This is the last one that was still based on a book, I think.
Some of it was beyond books, some of it was...
This is when they started to run out of books. So at the start, they went, we're going to veer off and do what with George's guiding hand, telling us how the end is supposedly going to be. Yeah, it's because I think it's season 5 where they started where fucking Jaime and Bronn went on their thing to the south. That was season 5, wasn't it?
To Dawn. Remember Dawn?
Yeah.
Remember how that had no consequence in the last 2?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I will stop talking about the last 2 series.
No, but yeah.
All of that just went.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened in Dawn in the books, which I can understand why they didn't bring that in, because they were like, there's an entire... Basically, it's entirely Cornwall down there, and there's so much story, it could be its own season again. But then they introduced Dawn. Was it season 5? No, Dawn was introduced before.
Season 4, because that's when... Because one of the best seasons, season 4 for me.
No, that's also what they have as number 1, because that's where they introduced Oberyn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Season 4.
So that's where we sort of learn more, rather than just hearing it mentioned in passing. Yeah. And then they developed more in season 5.
Yeah, but in season 5, they were just like, we're just going to send Bronn and Jaime down to Dawn on a weird sort of like buddy cop adventure.
It is like a buddy cop adventure, yeah.
And like, there's this really sweet moment where Jaime, I can't even remember his daughter's name, but meets his daughter, they finally acknowledge that Jaime is actually her dad, and then she immediately dies. So all of that character development was pissed down the river. So it had like
Yeah.
I know it's not a big thing for wonderful, heartwarming moments in Game of Thrones, but that just reeked of them again doing the let's do what George does and subvert it. Just kill her off as soon as it happens, and then I can't even remember what happened to the rest of it. It's like the Sand Snakes were
they got
not very. I don't know if they weren't.
I don't remember. I just don't remember. Like a lot of stuff from.
I remember
Five,
the
six,
acting from
remember.
the Sand Snakes being pretty poor.
Mm.
And I can't remember her name, but the Oberon's wife, she was pretty solid again as a character and an actress, but she was just surrounded by ones that kind of weren't.
Yeah, I think the highlights in season 5 was really, and everyone hated this character, but was really the High Sparrow versus King's Landing.
Oh yeah, I hated him because he was a hateable character, not because he was bad.
Yeah, he was sort of bad, but yeah, he's.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Though.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, he wasn't evil like Cersei's evil. But
yeah,
he was a bad dude.
Yeah.
And I think that was the most.
He was a fanatic.
Interesting in that series. The balance of power between those two was really interesting to watch.
And Oh, there was Barristan Selmy's death.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
I really liked Barristan as a character, but his death was a good fight scene.
That again felt like D&D saying this character, we don't think this character is going to be important in the end. We'll just kill him off with like. And the real problem is Barristan's talked up to be like Chuck Norris. He's the most unkillable guy.
He was the best swordsman, best living swordsman, apart from the dude that Ned killed in the flashback. Which did that happen in this season, or was that season 6? I'll have a quick look at that, but
yeah, it's hard to keep track. We're not exactly experts on this. If you want, real detailed analysis, this is not the place to be.
No, the flashback was season 6, but yeah, he was like the best swordsman.
Yeah, the sword of the morning. And then Barristan Selmy's like, he's the best. Like all the people who are established as the best rate him as the best.
Yeah, even though Selmy shit on Jaime a lot, but Jaime was like, he is the best. I watched him fight.
He is the best.
And then he was just like, Grey Worm lived, but he died because he's old.
Yeah, and like they didn't even kill him in like a cool way. It was like 6 guys.
It was a bar fight.
6 guys with spears kill him, and you're like, no, don't do him dirty like that.
Yeah, and then obviously there was at the end of season 5 where Jon gets murdered by. But I just didn't feel it in the same way I felt it in the books, because in the books all their motivations made sense, but it didn't make any sense for D&D to swerve off, especially in Jon's story. They went in an almost entirely different route, and then just bring it crashing back together at the end. So it's like, oh shit, we've got to kill him off. The little boy doesn't like him. Stab, and then that was it.
And like it doesn't. Obviously, it's hard to say because we're guessing at what George is going to do. But why does he come back to life? Why does
what was the point?
any deity decide no, he has to be alive for my grand plan? Why does he bring him back?
Maybe he brought him back specifically to kill Dany, but I mean, even then,
I don't know, because it's sort of like specifically mentioned when she brings him back that he's going to play a pivotal role in the Battle of Winterfell.
Yeah, and he kind of didn't.
No, he didn't really do anything. He just sort of shouted at a dragon.
He shouted at a dragon. He stood there. He got his ass kicked several times, and then his little sister, stepsister, half sister. I can't remember how it works. Half sister.
Well, yeah,
cousin.
Actually.
Oh yeah, because he's not related to Ned at all, is he?
Yeah,
I'm just getting.
Well, yeah, Ned's his uncle.
Yeah, there we go. It was Lyanna. There we go. I got it. I'm with you.
Yeah. And I'm fine with him not killing the Night King, but he just doesn't do anything of any importance.
No, he doesn't do it. He didn't. He was just kind of there, wearing his plot armor, as were all of them in that fight. Yeah, unfortunately.
And a lot of my problem as well is the bit with Arya in the library and inside. And I get why they do it. It's really quiet in those scenes. You can't hear anything from outside, but there's a fucking massive...
Yeah, there is.
And you can't hear anything. And I get why they do it. It's for jump scares.
Yeah.
when it's very quiet and then you suddenly make it very loud,
scare the shit out of people.
It's but it just doesn't track. It's just a disconnect. It's like, am I seeing something that's happening?
It's like it's happening in a different place. But anyway, now we're getting onto the slightly grey area of. We've still got. Go on, sorry.
Another good thing to mention about season 5 is Hard Home.
Yes.
That's great.
That episode was amazing.
That's probably the best big battle in the entire series.
Better than the Battle of the Bastards. Because people lost their shit over the Battle of the Bastards.
That was good too.
I did also prefer Hard Home, but I think that's because of the supernatural element.
Yeah, and there's something about a defeat.
Yeah,
there's something about a defeat that's ultimately more satisfying than a victory. Which is why, personally, I found Infinity War much better than Endgame.
Yeah, that's fair. I enjoyed both
because
of them.
they were both good, but for me, like Infinity War is the pinnacle of Marvel, and Endgame's like good, but not as good.
I've never really thought about the Marvels that much, to be honest. They kind of just sort of, it's like these are enjoyable films for me. So, but now we're getting into the area of we've still got 4 or 5 seasons, I've lost count, that are good, but which is the best good and the worst good? Because the next one they've got for 5th place is season 2.
Yeah.
So the problem I have with this is that season 2 has some of my favourite interactions, because there's obviously Joffrey. That's when Joffrey sort of solidifies his power and him being a dick. But it's got Tyrion as Hand of the King, which
that is great.
It's the everything that he does, even the bit where he is like thrown down because of how tragic it is. It's just phenomenal, and I love it.
Yeah.
And
that is excellent. I would put season 2 higher than that.
Yeah, and Arya hanging out with Tywin, just their interaction was so interesting to watch.
Season 2 also introduced the best character of Game of Thrones, which is Sir Davos.
Yeah, it did have Davos in it. When was Bronn introduced? Was Bronn season? No, he was in season 1.
He'd be in season 1.
Bronn is one of my favourites as well. But yeah, he was.
Bronn's also great. Yeah, but Davos is introduced, and Davos is great.
Davos is
as
great.
well. And then Blackwater.
Battle of Blackwater. Yeah.
Yeah, such an excellent.
Considering how small scale that was compared to, for example, the Battle of the Bastards, Blackwater was just brilliantly handled. Yeah,
it's sort of. I hate to say this because it makes me sound like such an ass, but it makes them. It sort of feels like at the back end they were relying on spectacle. More than like good storytelling, and it's partly because they have
limitations.
And in season 2, they still were basing it exactly off the books, and George R. R. Martin is an incredibly thorough writer.
Yes, he is, sometimes to his detriment.
Yes, definitely to his detriment. But it's the way he consumes media too, because it was something like in the 70s or something. He wrote a letter to Marvel Comics because in an issue of Spider-Man, Mysterio, I think, the villain was turned up, and he was like, "Well, could you please explain how Mysterio got here? Because the last time he was seen in canon, he was trapped on the moon, and how did he get back? And nothing was mentioned." And it's like incredible that he thinks in that sort of detail, which is why he can write a story like that.
Which is why he writes books that are 700 pages long.
Yeah,
and somehow
why he writes books that are so long that you actually have to read it as 2 books.
Yeah. Also, something that happens in season 2, Ygritte is brought in. I didn't really care that much about Ygritte, to be honest, as a character, and also their story kind of goes nowhere.
It's it
has a bit of a sad ending.
It's sort of character development for Jon, isn't it?
Yeah, she's used as character. That's a very good way of putting it, actually.
Which is not great.
He learns the sex. He learns how to do the sex.
He does learn how to.
He learns that this is. I don't know why this has popped into my head, but he learns that despite apparently having a tiny pecker, he's still good at sex. I don't know if that's George trying to project there, but
yeah, possibly.
Because one of my other favourite characters, I can't even remember his name now. The bear dude, the bear fucker, beard man.
Oh, the bear fucker. Do you mean Giant Spain?
Giant Spain.
Torbjorn.
Torbjorn.
Giant Spain.
Yeah. He just keeps referring to John as Tiny Pecker, and for some reason that makes me really happy. But yeah,
I mean, Tormund's fantastic.
Season 2 does have some of my favourite character bits in it, so I probably would put it higher on the list than they have.
I'd put it higher on the list than I'd put it higher than this. We might in the like description. I might just get us to put how we rate them in order, and I'll just put it in the description. So if people are interested, they can see what we personally think. But position number 4, they have season 3, which obviously is known for the Red Wedding. More of Jon and Ygritte again, which I'm not really that fussed about. It was interesting with the stuff beyond the wall. We've got Jaime and Brienne, because that's when Brienne and Kat, I think they release him from. Is that when they release him from Robb Stocks? Yeah. And he goes on his wanders and loses a hand. I do like the Jaime and.
This is getting to the point now where it's like I can't really think of that much bad stuff to say about the seasons.
No. Also, season 3 is when Ramsay Snow/Bolton gets introduced.
Oh yeah, the absolute, the probably the worst character in the, as in like the most evil character in the entire series.
Probably. He's certainly, it depends how you define evil, but in terms of
he is chaotic evil.
Yeah, the most heinous act, then definitely.
Yeah, and obviously that's where they haven't mentioned. I've forgotten his fucking name. I've forgotten the name. Greyjoy, Theon. They haven't mentioned Theon at all in this, but yeah, that's where Theon gets his.
That gif that everyone does with Ramsay shaking.
He's shaking the sausage. Yeah, it goes from it being like, oh, it's comeuppance and karma, to being like, okay, that's gone a bit too far now. But yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Again, a lot of brilliant character interactions.
And I think is season 3 the one where we're introduced to Marjorie Tyrell and the Queen of Thorns.
I can't remember.
I think she's introduced. Yeah, she is Elena.
Lady Elena. Yeah.
Elena. Yeah, she's introduced in season 3, and she's just one of the most fantastic.
Oh, she's fucking amazing, like actress and character. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've forgotten the actor's name. That's going to get on my nerves. I'm going to have to Google
it. Fuck. Hang on. Diana Rigg. Was it Diana Rigg?
Diana Rigg.
Yeah.
It was Diana Rigg. Diana Rigg's fantastic, and she is perfectly cast as the Queen of Thorns.
I fucking love the Queen of Thorns. Yeah. I wanted her to own the throne at the end of the seasons, but I can't remember what happens to her. I think she gets killed or dies off or something.
She drinks poison while telling Jaime that she's the one who killed Jon.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're getting to the point where it's like it's difficult. It's basically just like there's no salt now. It's just things
you've now reached the point where it's deciding which one's best, not which one's worst.
Third position, they have season 6.
Yeah, I've sort of talked about season 6 already. That I sort of put it lower down.
Yeah, I'd put it lower down. It's still after how much I hated season 5. Season 6 didn't have any bad moments for me. It's got the Battle of the Bastards, where Ramsay gets a really satisfying end. It's got the King in the North. It's got Jon and Sansa finally meeting.
It's not my favourite, but
season 6 is the one where Cersei blows up the city,
door
and hold the door.
Yeah, the door,
which is
a bit dumb, but it sort of worked.
I mean. Yeah, it was a bit dumb, but I still really enjoyed it because it's just so heartbreaking that
it is. Oh yeah, it's
that entire sequence, because we lose Hodor, we lose Summer. Is it just those two? Because Summer stays behind and gets like ripped apart.
I think some of the
children of the forest, like all of them die, don't they?
And the original Three-Eyed Raven.
And the Raven, yeah, but we didn't really care about them.
No,
I don't think it was mostly Summer and Hodor.
Yeah, the original 3-Eye Raven was mostly just exposition of the character. So.
Oh yeah, and then that's what Bran becomes, which is why he becomes somehow even worse than his character was before.
Yeah, Bran. Oh god, like the Bran chapters in the books were just. Oh god.
I speed read through those because it was
like
just
when he split the books into 2 books for the same time period with different characters.
Dance with Dragons,
which was
wasn't
an interesting idea. It could be, or it could have been he did. Yeah, I think it was.
I think he did put one good character in one of the books.
He put Jaime. Jaime was the only decent character to read in one of the books.
Yeah. One of the books was definitely more difficult to read than the other because it's like
the first one was such a slog. It was like, oh god, nothing but Sansa and Bran, and oh god, oh please. And then, but the next book was like nothing but non-stop Tyrion and good characters.
Brienne
Tyrion, Brienne, Davos. Oh, giving me all. That book was great, but yeah.
So in second,
personally, I'd definitely put season 6 behind season 3.
I think I would as well, but then I'd put season 5 right at the bottom. So, second place, they've gone with season 1.
Yeah, season 1's great. It's almost the exact copy of the book.
Yeah, I can't.
Which there's nothing wrong with because the book's great.
For their best bits of this one, they've just put Ned Stark, and I agree.
No, they're incorrect. The best ones in this one are the best bits of season 1 is Bobby B.
That's true. As
Robert Baratheon,
as your Discord and your Steam profile is
Bobby B.
Is Bobby B. You're right. He's a phenomenal character.
He's an incredible character. He's gone too soon, but
the
story doesn't happen if he doesn't die.
Everything he says is either surprisingly philosophical or fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
but and Ned, it's Bobby B's character and I've forgotten Ned Stark's fucking
Sean Bean.
Sean Ben. That's the only reason that I'd want to see a prequel. But it would be, the problem is that it'd be played by younger actors, and I don't want that. I just want to see Bobby B and Sean Bean on their adventures in
if it's not Mark Addy and Sean Bean, I'm not interested.
But season 1.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah,
it's got a special place for me because it's the first season, as I'd imagine it does for a lot of people. But again, it's really difficult to position I'm going to really struggle with the top 3, 4, I think. But for their season, their best one, they've got season 4.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Correct. That's the best.
Yeah, I'm going to find it difficult to argue with this one because they've got the fight against the mountain, which
that is for me the most memorable moment.
It was the most memorable. It was the most memorable part for me in the books as well, because in the books they managed to make it even more grotesque than they did in the films. Which
is impressive.
I think the wording in the books was something about him bringing down a mailed fist and then there being nothing but red mist around it. Completely destroys his face, not just his eyes, which was fucking brutal. But it's it gives you a real feeling of the power behind this dude, that he just completely destroyed this dude's entire head. Yeah,
I just remember I was at university, and I think I was watching it the day after it had come out. And I just remember I was sat on my bed with my ex at the time, and we just watched it, and we were both literally just speechless at the end.
Oh yeah,
just sat there holy shit.
I think I was in a similar position watching it with my mates, and just seeing that and just being I don't think we said anything. I think we just walked back to our respective flats after that. We're just I need time to deal with this.
Yeah, it was like a real gut punch, and that
I even knew it was coming, and it was still awful.
Yeah. See, I didn't, because I read the books after season 4, but before season 5.
I was between 3 and 4, I think, was when I started I started powering through the books.
Yeah. Basically, I powered through the books because I was sick and tired of people who had read the book.
Actually, in the books.
One, it wasn't that. It was spoiling what was going to happen.
Yeah, that's shit. None of my mates did that.
You know what? I'm just going to read the books, so at least I don't get it spoiled for me for the show.
Yeah.
I get to experience it good in the books, so that's what I did.
Actually, it might have been between, did I say? Yeah, 2 and 3, I think, was when I started reading it, actually. because I only started watching them just before season 3 came out.
Mm.
So I was like, yeah, I'll watch it and I'll read. Like my mates said, obviously as people do, they were like, oh, the books are better. So I was like, okay, I'll actually give it a read. And I don't know if they're better, but they're good in they're good in different ways. But
it's hard to say, of course, because the books aren't.
Fuck me, it drags on sometimes.
Probably never will be.
Yeah.
It never drags as badly as, say, the Dead Marches in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's like
it's 12 chapters.
It's pain. It's like it's painful trying to read through the Dead Marches.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a lot of read it because I have read all at some point in my life read all the way through the Silmarillion, and that is painful on the brain just because it's so difficult.
Yeah, I've heard the Silmarillion's hard.
Well, it's like reading the Bible, like a slightly more interesting but more difficult version of the Bible to read. I think it should be up there with like the Odyssey with how difficult it is to get through that book because it's just a collection of histories as well. But anyway,
yeah,
yeah, I've got. I think I might agree. I might put. Actually, I don't know. This is what I mean. It's going to get really difficult because the first 4 seasons, I love all of them. I don't. I'm going to have to genuinely think whilst I'm editing this as to what order I'm going to put them in.
Well, I can talk through mine because I've sort of drafted it, and I might change this, but I'm pretty much happy with this. So first, season 4.
Yeah,
that's just a straight away. Second, I think season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I've then got 3.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then 2.
Then 6, I'm guessing.
I've gone 5, better than 6.
Oh wow, okay. Then.
Because I sort of at the time I probably preferred 6 to 5, but hindsight with how they ended, and like the sort of the beginning of the beginning of the end of the good writing.
Yeah, I suppose.
Sort of pushes it back. So I've then got them in order 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's fair. I think until I've written it down, I think I'm going to go slightly. I'd say 4 first, then season 1, then 3, which I think so far is exactly the same as yours.
Yeah.
Then I'd go with 2 in 4th.
Yeah, so that's the same. I think 4, 1, 3, 2.
Yeah.
For the top 4.
Then I'd go. Then I'd go 6. Now is actually difficult because I can't remember which one of these 3 I dislike the most. I'd say. Oh, it's rough. I'd say 5, then 8, then 7.
That's interesting because at the start you said that you thought 5 was like the worst of all.
I'm really.
So have I managed to win you round with some of my
It's more
arguments?
that just like I keep forgetting that there's 2 out of 6 episodes that I loved in season 8, and the other 4 ruined it. I didn't even. You didn't even get 2.
I didn't even talk about how they massacred Jamie's character.
Oh, fuck that noise! Yeah, it's
fascinating. For me, that makes it worse.
The fact that there's still 3 episodes after the Battle of Winterfell baffles me because I can't remember anything about.
Yeah, that's terrible. And then the fact that they just decide, Jamie's redemption arc that we've been doing for the whole series, from 1 to 8. What if in the last episode or 2? We decided that actually he's going to be a worse person in the last episode than he was in the last 2 episodes than he was in the first. What? Like, just why? Why would you? Fine, if you want him to fail and you want him to fall back onto the terrible person he was, I get it. But give me more than just
they died.
He wants to fuck his sister in. Because that's basically what That's how it came across. That's
his entire character.
He got some Brienne poon and then decided, no, Cersei's much better. Fuck all this being redeemed shit. So for that alone, for me, season 8 is
actually
the last place.
I got my seasons mixed up. I'm in 6th, 7th, and 8th order. I'm going to go 7, 8, 5. I think. Because I do. What was the good? There was one good thing about season 5. There was one bit. It was Littlefinger's death, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
Was it that one?
And Hard Home season 5.
Yeah. Oh fucking hell! Yeah, this is what I'm gonna. All right. Yeah, I forgot which one season 7 was because I mean I can't really remember what happened in season 7. I can't remember anything about it. That's the problem.
Season 7 was like where people were warping all over the.
Yeah.
John and Daenerys met and decided that
Oh no! Season 7. Season 7. Arya comes home. Littlefinger dies.
Yeah, they go beyond the wall on that stupid trip where they all should have died to get a White Walker and go to Cersei.
Oh god,
which
it's so
ultimately
difficult.
was pointless because they knew she was going to fucking bail on it and lie anyway. But they decided to do it anyway. Oh.
I want to change it again. I'm going to have to write them down. And so
yeah,
at the moment,
it's fine. I'm cool with you not coming to a conclusion.
My final 3 are still up for debate. I can't figure out which order because they've all got at least one redeeming feature, but several things wrong with them. I can't figure out which is the worst for me, anyway. But yeah,
and the other thing I'd also say is that like the first 4 are like 10 out of 10 to 8.5 out of 10. 5 and 6 are both around like a 7 out of 10, and then it just immediately, like for me, would plummet off to 7 being like a 6 out of 10, and then 8 honestly was that bad for me personally.
To be honest, the fact that I'm having to think about which one I dislike so much is making me dislike all 3 of those seasons more.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like their saving thing is just like a note. Somebody has to come last in every race. I'm just like it's like even in this article they're being apologists about saying that one of them is worse. But I'm not upset at myself for saying there's some things that I really hated in those last 3.
That's fine. Yeah, and
it's okay to be passionate about something that you're passionate about, even if it's
even if it's pointless and you shouldn't be. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with
there's 55 minutes of us talking about things that are pointless
exactly.
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But it's lockdown, give us a break.
Because for me, one of the most satisfying things about season 8 being bad was the fact that I'd said season 7 was bad. And a lot of people were like, no, it's not bad. It's not bad. But then season 8 was bad. And it was like, oh no, season 7 was actually bad. I'm like, yes, some of us realised that at the time. I got to be all smug and superior.
Yeah. I think season 7 might have more redeeming features for me than 5. But yeah, I'll sort that out. Because I don't think there's not really...
put it in the description.
Yeah, there's not a lot really that I'd want to cut out of this discussion, really. It's not like any...
No. I think we're all...
I don't think we've said anything particularly offensive.
No.
Unlike the first episode where we just talked about nonces all the time.
Lots of nonces.
And we'll come back to that next week. We'll because there were certain things that Jack wanted to talk about that I think he should be able to talk about and have people hear them. But
yeah, we can sort of do a rehash the more interesting stuff. And move on.
A revival of episode 1. But yeah, I'm good with all of that. So thanks for joining me, Sam.
No problem.
By the way, I was joined by Sam. I don't know if I mentioned that at the start. I probably didn't.
In the Lost first episode, I did a funny bit where I gave a load of personal information, but I'm not going to do that again.
No, you didn't, because I was going to funnily edit that out, but then we lost everything. So, thanks to anyone who is listening.
Yeah,
we would probably...
You poor demented souls, why would you listen to us talk shit for an hour?
Yeah, especially, I didn't plan to go on for an hour, but there was just so much to talk about. 8 seasons worth of shit to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I think an hour is probably about right for 8 series of television.
Yeah, and feel free to let us, I'm sure you would anyway, but feel free to let us know how we're wrong in the comments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, about how we're idiots and
how our opinions are trash.
Yeah, season 7 was the best, actually, I'll have you know, because of reasons. But yeah, I'm going to call that now because we've been recording for 56 minutes. And I'm going
that's good.
Hopefully, my audio, it looks like it's recorded properly this time, so all the audio should still be there.